Where's our translator?
Well, I'm going to be your translator because I don't know where
she got lost?
Yeah, sí, me está preguntando por su traductora, cuál la perdimos, pero yo voy a ser su traductora ahorita.
First of all, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you everybody for coming out. And how about a round of applause for a great show today?
Antes que nada, muchas gracias a todos por estar aquí y gracias por este show. Está muy padre.
Thank you so much to BASF for having me here, and also my friends at 3M. It's great to see them here as well.
Gracias a mis amigos de BASF que fueron quienes me trajeron y también a mis amigos de 3M.
We have two translators now.
Yeah, we have two translators. ¿Quién lloró?
Short sentences, okay. It's an honor to be here. I have been involved in the automotive paint resurfacing and custom car building for 40 years now.
Es un honor estar aquí. He estado trabajando en la reparación de autos y en el servicing durante 4 años.
And custom car building for 40 years.
No, 40 años. He estado trabajando en esto durante 40 años.
And in that 40 years, what I have observed most is that there's always a change of product.
Y durante este tiempo siempre ha habido cambios de producto.
Which is fabulous. You know, you get to know a paint system, and then it changes, and you can do more and better things with it.
Lo que es fabuloso porque conoces diferentes sistemas y te vuelves, te pones en contacto con estas técnicas, estos productos.
And I'm very excited to be here with BASF for the launch of the waterborne systems.
Y estoy muy contento de estar aquí para el lanzamiento de los sistemas basados en agua de BASF.
It's exciting to be working with the waterborne systems. We have actually had it. It's legislated in California. You have to use the waterborne paints.
Es emocionante trabajar con sistemas base agua, como ustedes saben. En Estados Unidos, en California sobre todo, existe una legislación y bueno, aquí no existe, pero de todas formas se puede usar la base agua.
And from what I hear, that it's also going to be legislated here in Mexico soon.
Y de lo que yo he escuchado, en México próximamente puede haber una legislación para base agua.
I had the advantage to be working with BASF before it was mandatory, so I got to learn the system before we had to use it, and I really do enjoy using it.
Yo tuve la fortuna de trabajar con BASF con base agua desde antes que hubiera regulación, por lo tanto la conozco muy bien y les se las puedo recomendar ampliamente.
BASF is a pioneer in the waterborne systems. They've actually been using their systems or developing the systems and making it better since 1979.
BASF es pionero en base agua y de hecho ellos la han estado desarrollando y comercializando desde 1979.
Some of the great advantages that you're going to find when you use their system is you use less paint.
Sí, una de las ventajas de sus sistemas base agua es que usas menos pintura.
It's actually easier to match colors.
Es más fácil igualar los colores.
You know, what you do with the primers before you paint and the clear systems after is identical to the solvent base. It's only the base coats that are the waterborne system.
Y lo que haces con los primers es lo mismo que con bases, solamente la única diferencia es la base color.
So your finished product looks exactly the same, other than the colors are cleaner and you've used less material, which means you spent less money.
Entonces el acabado final es lo mismo, pero con las ventajas de que usas menos pintura, un color más limpio y bueno, esto se traduce en menos dinero.
And it's to your advantage to get to know the systems now before you have to use it. Because if you're, overnight you have to start using it, then you're trying to learn. Right now you can learn and take your time, and you're going to be the best at using this system when it's mandatory.
Yo les recomiendo que antes de que haya una regulación se empiecen a familiarizar con los sistemas base agua, ya que va a ser más fácil para ustedes y van a ir un paso adelante antes de que venga la regulación.
Now I'm going to tell you a little bit about how the relationship with BASF and Foose Design came to be.
Ahora les voy a hablar un poco de cómo se dio la relación entre BASF y Chip Foose.
You may know me from overhauling, but I've been building cars, like I said earlier, for 40 years, starting with my father when I was 7 years old.
Quizás solamente ustedes me conozcan por el programa de overhauling, pero yo he estado en este mundo de los coches desde los 7 años, llevo 40 años. Este es un legado de mi padre.
My father had a custom shop and also an accident repair shop, and the exclusive paint that we used was RM.
Mi papá tenía un taller de reparación de colisiones y también un taller de personalización de autos, y desde ese entonces él usaba RM.
I grew up working with my father for 15 years. For 15 years, I was a body and paint man. Pardon? That one? Okay. For 15 years, I grew up working in my father's shop as a body man and a painter.
Por 15 años estuve trabajando como hojalatero y pintor con mi papá durante 15 años.
And one of the lucky things that I got to do, I can't believe my father would let me, but I would go into the mixing room and just play with colors and just waste gallons after gallons of color. Very, very expensive, but my father let me just play with color, and I had a great time developing and engineering and just mixing colors for fun.
Y yo tuve una gran experiencia durante ese tiempo, pues mi papá me dejaba prácticamente jugar y desperdiciar todos los colores, pero eso fue parte de lo que me ayudó a saber más de este mundo de la pintura y de los coches.
And when we would build these custom cars, I got to mix the custom colors that we would apply to those cars.
Cuando nosotros hacíamos coches personalizados, a mí me tocaba mezclar los colores para estos coches.
After working with my father for 15 years, I attended Art Center College of Design in Pasadena, California, and got a degree in industrial design specializing in automotive.
Después de estar 15 años con mi papá, estudié en el Centro de Arte de California, y ahí fue donde me profesionalicé mi experiencia.
After I'd gone to Art Center, I worked with several design firms and several different hot rod shops. And eventually I ended up working for Boyd Coddington, if you're familiar with that name, with American Hot Rod. I worked with Boyd for 8 years.
Después de eso estuve trabajando en varias firmas de personalización de autos. Dentro de ellas está Coddington, que no sé si la conozcan, pero ahí estuve un buen tiempo.
In 1998, Boyd's companies went bankrupt, and I was basically forced to start my own company. It was never a dream to have my own company. It was a means of making a living.
En 1998, Coddington, donde yo trabajaba, quebró, y bueno, esto me obligó a empezar mi propia compañía.
And the first car that we were ready to paint was called the Grand Master. And when it came time to paint that car, I wanted the absolute best paint on it because we had spent 5 years just doing the bodywork on this car.
El primer coche que yo hice se llamó el Grand Master, y yo siempre quise la mejor pintura para este coche porque nos llevó 5 años hacer toda la parte del body, del coche, de la carcasa.
So I talked to all the people that polish and prep cars for high-end shows. I talked to them and asked them what paint they get the best results for, or the best results when they're prepping these cars for the shows.
Entonces yo empecé a preguntarle a la gente que preparaba y que pintaba los coches para los shows, para las ferias de autos, y lo que me dijeron.
And everyone had told me that for the best finish, I should use BASF.
Y todos ellos lo que me decían es que para el mejor acabado debía de usar BASF.
And as I said earlier, I was familiar with the RM line. I had not worked with BASF lately, but I went and we purchased all the materials to paint the Grand Master. I was familiar with the RM products. I did not have a relationship with BASF at this time, but we purchased all the materials and we painted the Grand Master.
Entonces yo conocía la marca RM, pero no tenía una relación directa con BASF. Solamente comprábamos los materiales, pero no tenía yo una relación directa con el fabricante, que es BASF.
After we painted this car, we presented and unveiled it at the Detroit Autorama, where the car actually won the Detroit Riddler Award, which is the most sought-after award in all of hot rodding.
Cuando terminamos este coche lo presentamos en el Autorama Show de Detroit, que es uno de los shows más importantes. Lo develamos ahí.
After we had won, I brought the car back to my shop and contacted the area rep for BASF and invited him to come see the car.
Bueno, hace rato se me olvidó decirles que en ese show ganó un premio. Después de ese premio, bueno, ya regresaron el coche a su taller y buscaron al representante de ventas de BASF.
I let him know that this is the type of work that we like to do here at Foose Design, and we would like to start a relationship with BASF to exclusively use their paints on the cars that we are building.
y les comenté que bueno, ese es el tipo de acabados y de pintura que yo quería para mis coches y que me gustaría empezar una relación con ellos.